Olá pessoal, tudo bem? Eu estou aqui no Hotel Tirol hoje para uma entrevista com o senhor Garrett, que vem da Grã-Bretanha, que vem do país de Gales, que está visitando a região e também passa aqui por Treze Tílias. E a gente vai falar apenas o primeiro nome dele, a pedido dele, e ele está buscando asilo aqui no Brasil, asilo político, e está fazendo visitas em várias cidades aqui do estado de Santa Catarina, e uma delas é Treze Tílias. Mr. Garrett, thank you so much for having me here for this conversation.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Who is Mr. Garrett?
I am a soltero, a bachelor. I am British. I am Welsh. I love Argentina. I love Chubut and the Welsh people of Chubut. But I can't go back to Argentina because I am not residente. I am not a resident. I do like Brazil, so I'm here and I'm looking at all the wonderful places of Brazil.
Okay. When did you arrive in Brazil?
In early November.
Are you not afraid about coronavirus?
No.
Why not?
I am what's called, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, and I'm not anti-vaccination, but I don't believe that the COVID lockdowns, cerraduras, I don't think they are justified. And I think that Brazil, the president of Brazil, has done the right thing every time. Don't let me get involved in politics because I think they're all wonderful.
Okay.
All right? And the trouble is the politics.
All right. And do you care by yourself? Do you wear masks?
I do. It's useful to wear a mask. I have always caught colds from people whom I'm close to, and I've had hundreds of colds. The mask is a useful thing.
You arrived in November here in Brazil, and which city did you arrive?
I llegado a Rio de Janeiro, and I was in a muy buena favela, muy linda, with nice houses in them and a hostel, very pretty, very pleasant.
Is this your first time in Brazil?
It is. And I've been totally overwhelmed by the hugeness, the fineness, the richness of the soil, the agriculture, the new cities, everything. It's amazing. Not like America. I've been to North America. I'm not impressed by that at all.
And how came you up here in our city?
To Treze Tílias.
Yes.
Well, I came to Rio. I said, well, what can I do? Where can I go? So a gentleman said, go to Ouro Preto. He says, it's a mining town. There's a lot of tradition, it's tourism, but it's interesting. And a lot of poverty there. So I went to Ouro Preto, and I stayed for a week, and poverty there is quite serious. But the people of Belo Horizonte love it, because it's an outing for the weekend. They can have tea and lunch there and things like that. Then I came to Curitiba, directly down to Belo Horizonte, Sao Paulo, down to Curitiba, and I spent a week there. The architecture of Curitiba is wonderful.
Did you like it?
I loved it, yes. And the main, La Calle Brasil, it's called, the main street is fantastic. Beautifully organized. And even the skyscrapers, the rascacielos, they're beautifully organized, well spaced. Excellent.
All right. And what did you think about Treze Tílias? Did you like Treze Tílias?
Treze Tílias? It's a working village, a working town, and it's a growing town as well. I don't know how long they will be able to mantener the tradition of the Tyrolean roofs and the Tyrolean balustrades. Not easy to maintain that, but if they can, well and good. I mean, the Tyrolean climate is more severe than here, I think. I don't know, but I think it's more severe than here.
And are you looking for something particular in our region here, in our city?
I'm 75. I'm looking for friends.
For friends?
Yeah.
Did you find someone here?
One or two, yes. I met one of the Thaler family yesterday, who was very pleasant and an interesting woman. and a sculpture in wood.
All right.
Yeah.
I know that you are interesting to live in order to live in Brazil,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Why do I want to live in Brazil?
Yes.
Because I can't live in England. I'm kind of in exile, exilado, because of Brexit and because of COVID. Brexit and COVID have made chaos out of my life, and I don't have COVID. Not yet. Well, I hope I don't either.
What happened there? Can you tell us?
In England, yeah. Well, it's too complicated. If you're going to talk to a Treze Tílias audience, it's too complicated to go into. But I was involved in all sorts of unpleasant things which I had no intention of being involved in at all. And so I've left the country. And Brazil has made me very welcome so far.
Did you find some city so far that you liked most?
I lived in London for some years, and I've lived in the country for many years. And I am a viticulturist, an apiarista, and all sorts of oenologias. So I'm quite old. I prefer the countryside now. But Joinville looks beautiful to me. And a well-organized city with lots of trees. And Mendoza in Argentina is like that, but very prone to earthquakes, Mendoza. Extremely hot, extremely humid, but very well organized with regard to trees and irrigation of water for the trees in the city centre, so it's much cooler under the trees at all times.
You are looking for a place much cooler.
Well, that's why I'm here in Treze Tílias, because I like the heat of Brazil is probably what's put me off as much as anything. Where is it cool in Brazil?
In South Brazil.
Yeah.
And you are single and retired.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
So you have no problem to live anywhere?
Quite. And they set no restrictions on me in the United Kingdom to go anywhere in the world, so I came.
And you said me before we are filming this interview that you were in the parliament in Britain.
Well, I wasn't a member. I was what you might call a member without portfolio. In other words, I wasn't a member. There are ways of saying things. So in the 1990s, in 1997, the Labour government, I supported Labour, but before then I'd supported Conservatives.
And you are a friend of Tony Blair.
Tony Blair is a great guy.
Really?
Yeah, he was a good leader. Mrs. Thatcher was a good leader. The Iron Maiden. She was an excellent leader. Malvinas, no. You have to forget that.
You speak Spanish.
Yeah.
How did you learn to speak Spanish?
I learned Spanish when I was a 13-year-old. And I was good at it.
And why did you learn?
Because of the European Union. Of the European community. In those days, I was in 1959, when I started learning Spanish, it was the European community was 6 members, and we wanted to be the 7th or the 8th or whatever it was. And my parents dedicated me to learning French and Spanish so that I could contribute to the European Union, to the European community.
And do you like to speak Spanish?
Yeah. I love it, especially Argentino. El acento de Bariloche. I love Bariloche.
Very, very nice. And it's similar to Portuguese. Do you know something
Well, I've been trying with Portuguese. I've got something in there. And Mariela Tela.
Mariana Tale.
See, and we were reading a bit of Portuguese yesterday.
All right. And you also write something, you have a blog in...
I blog in The Guardian.
The Guardian?
The London the worldwide newspaper, because they do
Yes.
Australia and the United States as well.
What do you write about?
I used to write on politics, but I'm finished with politics now. I was knowledgeable about the politics of the 1990s, the reforms of the 2002, 2003, 2005, But I'm finished with that. You write yourself out as a stringer or a journalist, and I'm written out for politics, but I'm not written out for agriculture, horticulture, and things like microbiology as well. I'm very interested in taxonomy.
Mr. Garrett, I thank you so much. It was a grateful conversation. Thank you so much for having me here for this conversation. And I hope that you really, one day maybe you can come back again to our city. And why not to live here in our city?
Well, I could. Oh, here, yes, I could. But it's just a question of finding somewhere which is economical. All right? Yes, I certainly anywhere which is economical. This is just ridiculous. This is a hotel.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Yeah.